Hello, travel biz owner. Welcome to my corner of the travel industry, the Strategic Travel Entrepreneur Podcast. If you're ready to have fun, be inspired, get clarity, and take action in your travel business, then you're in the right place. Let's jump in. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Strategic Travel Entrepreneur. I am Rita M. Perez. I am your podcast host. If you're new around here, you are kind of right in the middle of lots of good things that are happening right now. So today's episode is actually kind of like part 3 in a series because I do replay episodes when my event prep for Wave Week starts happening. So if you're like, Rita, well, what does that even mean? The short story is that Prep for Wave Week is a virtual event that's happening this year from September 22nd to the 26th. And it's really to help get you in the mindset for the new year, starting to think like, what are some of the foundational elements that you need to update? What about your business operations needs to be refreshed? We go on also about marketing, sales, and then how to grow your business in really unique ways. So if that is up your speed, one, I need you to make sure that you're signed up because this is the last Friday before the event starts. The event starts, depending when you're listening to this, in just a few days, or you're already a little bit late. So make sure that you're registered, prepforwaveweek.com/register. The link is in the show description, so I'm trying to make it super duper easy. And if you're not new to the podcast, hi friend, missed ya. I am back from surgery leave. Surgery recovery has actually been going really, really well for me. Much better than my surgery 3 years ago that was similar but different. So I am very, very grateful for that. Also having to remember that I can't, even though like I'm starting to feel normal, not to do crazy things because we don't want to have any boo-boos or accidents. I want to have the most boring recovery as possible. So huge, huge thank you for holding down the fort for me while I was out on my leave. I just can't wait to get back and like get started with a bang with Prep for Wave Week next week. So if you have already registered for Prep for Wave Week, and if you're in the Facebook group, if you're not in the Facebook group, feel free to head over there. I have created a handy dandy graphic so that if you wanted to brag to all of your travel industry colleagues that you are attending Prep for Wave Week, this is how you do it. So it's a Canva graphic template. You can go ahead. I've given you a couple of instructions. It's a post in the Facebook group, so you've got to go to the Facebook group to search for it. Get a Canva link. You also get a prompt. If you wanted to become an affiliate and earn some affiliate income, feel free to do that. There are some instructions in the post on how to do that as well. Or you can just share the general registration link. But I want to let you know because I know I have lots of graphics for the speakers and our partners for the events, but I haven't ever had an attendee graphic before. And so this year I was like, we're going to make my attendees feel really, really special. So thank you so much for being here. Now, I did say this is kind of part 3 in the series because this replay, we are featuring Courtnie Nichols. Courtnie Nichols is like one of my favorite people who is in the industry. She actually founded the Biz Huddle, which is really like a in-depth mastermind program for travel advisors. The inaugural year was this year. And I know in this recording, you'll probably hear us talk about a little bit about this year's event as she was doing the plans. They are doing another event next year. So I'll try and link up the application because it is a very select group of people. You do have to have a little experience within the travel industry. But I just heard really great reviews from those people that attended. I do a lot of things that help you become a better entrepreneur. And this was like a really like deep dive, even deeper into that kind of stuff. So I even wanted to attend myself, but the stars were not aligned this year. Who knows in the future. So this session was on Operations Day last year. And we are talking all about systems. Courtnie is kind of like an SOP queen, and she loves using a project management tool. She does use like an itinerary builder within the industry and then a CRM that's not industry specific. A lot of the reasons for that is because the CRMs that are not within the industry have a little bit more integrations with other tools. I don't know why our travel industry tools still aren't integrating with a lot of the things outside APIs needed for that. So please, tools, give us some API so that we can start connecting things together. But this one is really, it's a deep dive also on like ditching that hobby mindset and really leaning in to your inner CEO, because you are running a business. This is not a haha funny little side hustle here. This is a living, breathing entity, and you have to treat, I was going to say train. You have to treat your business as such. So without further ado, let's get into Courtnie's session. But welcome, Courtnie.
Hey, thank you. Glad to be here.
Yay. And spoiler alert for travel advisors tuning in. This is not the first time Courtnie and I have chatted, so I'll link up some of our previous conversations if you absolutely love this one too. But Courtnie, kind of, because I think the first time we talked was in 2021.
Oh Lord, that's it. Yeah.
I know.
I'm like, what was I doing? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I know the first conversation, because you were at the inaugural Prep for Wave Week, and I think we had talked about marketing your business without social media. So kind of like thinking back to 2021 Courtnie and looking at 2024 Courtnie, how is your business different, especially in the operations realm?
So I will say in the operations realm, I've perfected. So I've just taken what I started and enhanced it. And it's kind of like people say, I'm like on crack, basically. I shouldn't say that, but like everybody on my team, I have an SOP for everything. Like literally, if you were to answer the phone, I have an SOP on how we answer the phone when you call Travel Bash. Like literally every little thing, I'm always like, if you do it more than once, have you created an SOP? I'll say enhanced it because now we have AI. So all the SOP documents that we created in our Google folders, we've gone back and dumped them into AI and say, improve this procedure. And then AI will come and create it and make it even better. Yes. So that's something that you guys, yes.
Okay, so kind of like touching a bit on AI, are you using ChatGPT? Are you using Claude, one of the other ones?
I use ChatGPT. It is my best friend. It is our assistant. Yes, new team member. Yeah. It's what we do. That's what I say. It's like makeup. Don't be afraid of it. You're beautiful. It'll just enhance your beauty. So you don't have to overdo it. Yeah, you don't overdo it. You just utilize it to like enhance what you're already doing. So that's how we utilize it. We're not scared of it. We don't rely on it for everything. Yeah. But we're just taking things and we're shortening our process. So then that helps us to deliver, that quality service. And it also cuts down on the manpower of having, for people who are not looking to have 20 different team members or, you know what I mean? Like 3 admins, you can utilize it as an admin or a consultant. Right. You just have to teach it. You have to, like, it's just like a dog. You have to, you have to train it. And then it does what you ask. I was like, I wish I could use it on my husband, but it doesn't work like that.
I love that you said that too, because I used it for something marketing wise the other day where I was asking it, what would you say? Like, you've heard me ask you a bunch of different questions at this point. What would you say is my writing tone so that I know how to better tell you how I want? And it was like, well, this is how you speak. And I was like, yes, that's exactly what I want to come out. So yeah, it takes a lot of time. It's not just saying like, make me SOP for XYZ, because it doesn't know all the nuance behind it.
Yeah, it doesn't know anything about you or your business and all of that. So I actually paid for the enhanced version. Okay. So I fed it background of like who I am, what are all my businesses, what I'm involved in, like who are my team members. Like it scares me sometimes because it's like, let Alexis know that this. I'm like, how do you know about Alexis? And I'm like, oh, duh, because I've told you. Like, duh, we created KPIs for her. Yeah.
Right. No, it's so weird that you say that because I use an AI called Cast Magic.
Mhm.
I typically put on all of my audio recordings for the podcast on there so it can repurpose that content for other pieces. And
Mhm.
I was putting information in there, and from the transcript, it started pulling out names, and it's never done that before. And I'm like, wow, you're becoming
Yeah.
way smart now. This is a time
See,
saver.
operational. That's what we're talking about. How to utilize it effectively. It's great for operations day to day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned a team. Before you got on started with a team, did
Mhm.
you use a lot of tech to help smoothen out some of your operations?
Yes. So I've always used like Travify or CRM. I've always used certain things, but
Uh-huh.
I wasn't really, I'll say, I didn't use all the capabilities. You know what I mean? Like, so
Okay.
and this is the thing. So I had Travel Joy as well. And so Travel Joy, when they first started, didn't have as much as they do now, enhancements. So
Mhm.
that's the one thing about tech. When you start, like, they're always updating or like, so for a while there, I had Vacation CRM. I had, Travel Joy. I would use Travel Joy
All
for
the
my retainer
things.
clients. I would use Vacation CRM for like the wedding portion, then Travelify only for proposals and itinerary. So you start collecting all these like, and I'm like, how can we streamline this
Uh-huh.
and create the process of like I had to go back and audit like from the inquiry process to onboarding to like the trip portion and see how we could get things to talk to each other because I'm like I rather have less tools and systems than more. So then I started using Zapier a lot more because I
Oh
then found
yeah.
that. So for my process now, I use Honeybook, and that's for anybody that comes in.
Okay.
It doesn't matter who you are. And
Uh-huh.
so from the inquiry process to like to book a call to learn more about us to the agreement to your payment to we have a video on there like so now you know who actually onboard all of that's housed in Honeybook. And then just the trip portion is just Vacation CRM. And we have
Okay.
Zapier, like talking to both Vacation CRM and Honeybook and can send
Okay.
text messages and does all the things. But we're trying to find something that with Zapier that we could cut out some of the extra tools that I was using. So
Uh-huh.
even in my website, like we'll zap it to our email campaign. You know what I mean? Like Zapier is my best friend.
Yeah.
Like, if there's not a Zap for, I'm like, oh, we got to get rid of this. We can't use this. Like, I need this
Right.
machine to talk to this machine. Yes.
I think that's the biggest downfall of travel industry tech is
Yes.
that it doesn't have API, which means you can use a Zapier. And a Zapier, if you don't know what that is, it's just a connector tool. So
Yes.
if you have a discovery call via Calendly and you want those automatically added to your CRM like Honeybook, Zapier can do that instead of you manually having to do that.
Correct. And the good thing for those who use Honeybook or Dubsado and not a traditional travel CRM is I
Mhm.
don't have to pay for Calendly anymore because Calendly has a partnership with Honeybook. So it's
Yeah.
already connected.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, oh, get rid of that bill because now I
Yeah.
have just this, like it streamlines that whole process.
Exactly. Yeah, that's like I think my biggest qualm. And I don't know, for some reason, travel industry tech does not want to adapt the API. And I'm like, you know how like super powered we could be
I
with the
know.
API.
I feel like I send Steven, I have him or someone on my team send him an email every other day about, hey, can we do this? Can we do that?
Uh-huh.
Or is this in the works or that? I know he's like, oh
Right.
gosh, Courtney, but yeah, keeping him on his toes for Vacation CRM. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's really good to hear too, because I don't think a lot of people talk about Vacation CRM. So
Yeah.
what about Vacation CRM do you prefer as opposed to some of the other tools?
So the reason why that I prefer Vacation CRM for the trip process is because for the group side of my business, obviously I'm out of the day to day. Thank
Mhm.
you, team. But as far as for different individuals to send in registration form. So the one thing about TravelJoy, when I was utilizing it, it was wonky with groups. It's easier for FITs or like the dashboard and how it's set up. But when you start doing multiple groups and weddings, and so if you have 10 or 11 weddings with 40 or 50 different rooms, you know what I mean? Like it's easier to manage user friendly
Mhm.
for my team that we found. And actually like sending out their registration form, having them fill it out. They have the flight thing that automatically can send. So they have these auto emails. So when I was using TravelJoy, it didn't have as much automation. I have found now that talking with colleagues, they do have more automation, but
Okay.
also that doesn't mean I'm just going to drop what I'm doing to go back and try to learn. You know what I mean? Like
right.
at the time when I needed it, it didn't. So this system, I've created a system around that works. And so if it's not broken, I don't want to fix it. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing, I don't need to touch it. I need to stick with this, because then you could just be jumping around to different ones all the time.
Right.
So the way we utilize it, because it has nothing to do with our lead or onboarding or any of that process. It's specifically for like, hey, here's how you book your reservation. They get their invoice. On top of that, we can collect their flight information. We have auto emails set up for the group. It's just easier to manage, if that makes sense.
Okay. So what would you say is the difference between like what you do in VacationCRM and Honeybook? Is Honeybook strictly like for scheduling calls and invoicing?
Yeah, so Honeybook, actually, for my retainer, we use the whole process for Honeybook. So basically, Honeybook replaces my Travel Joy. But Honeybook, the reason why it's better is because it does everything from the front end to completion. So when someone wants to book a call with me or inquire about my services or whatever, the form on your website, it is a Honeybook form. It then it'll send Alexis on my team an email, and it'll have all the information. She already has the templates and all that set up to where it's automated. You know what I mean? That all she has to do is click. She doesn't have to type anything. It's all already filled out. She'll present our brochure with our pricing, and then they can schedule a call from there. Then after they schedule the call, you know what I mean? Like after that, they get the automatic, like you want to move forward. They can sign the contract right in there and make payment. Everything's housed right there. You don't lose any. Everything's connected. Then from there, onboarding, like they get their welcome guide, and here's who we are. And you can embed videos and all of that. And so from the inquiry all the way to them becoming a client, we use all of that. So even when they get back the trip service, because belongs to the client, just the trip portion. So the actual reservation part is what we use VacationCRM for. But for FIT, it's easier. So like for my retainer client, I can keep everything in Honeybook because they are a client that's going to be with me multiple times. Right. So I can just create multiple projects in one, and they can see everything housed right there.
Right. Yes. That I use Honeybook a lot for take the helm, the support side. And like sneak peek behind kind of what I've used it recently for, I have partners for prep for Wave Week. And so that whole process of people sending in their interests, getting them to sign, invoice, all of that was handled inside of Honeybook. And I'm like, woo, multiple uses here.
Yes, that's what I use it for. And it's just streamlined the process and to make it's easier. I will say, because I'm OCD crazy, that's what they say, is like I've backed up everything that we've done in Honeybook in Asana. So Asana is like ClickUp, Monday, Trello, different. But so literally, if I pass away, heaven forbid, tomorrow, you could go on or say Honeybook shut down, you wouldn't know how to work. Every step from an inquiry, from the form, what it looks like, to who handles what. We do the who, the what, the when, where, how. We upload a document for that of like, here's the steps. We do that from the very beginning all the way until they get home. Like last week, we had a bride that just got married in Tulum, and this Monday on our weekly team call, it was lessons learned. That was a Asana project. That's like the last step of the process. Or what was the lessons learned in this, this wedding group? What should we do better? Or like, what did we have hiccups with? How was the process? Was there an email that went out too early that we should adjust? Is there an email that we should add? Or we've got feedback from this. So we always, just because they've traveled, and obviously you always want to get the feedback from the client and also want to review, but that still doesn't mean the project is closed. We do not close a project until we've discussed lessons learned and how for the next time that we can streamline or make the process better. So the one thing that like, if you didn't get anything else and like you were to have my team on, they'll say, Courtnie, like travel, we're always updating, innovating, making our process and systems better. We don't just settle on like, oh, this is how we do it, because we're learning from utilizing and how we streamlined it of like, is this working? This doesn't work. Does this only work for weddings? Or can this work for our groups? Do FIT, you know what I mean? Like we're steadily trying to improve each time to kind of deliver an even better experience.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that, because I don't think we talk a lot about that in the industry, where we talk about like making the sale and making sure your client has a really great time. But then that post where you need to keep up the client relationship, but then also evaluate like what went well, what didn't, what can you do a little bit better?
Yes.
I just think like more people should kind of like institute that to their own SOPs. Oh, kind of like getting a little bit into the business.
Yeah.
How many people do you have working for you, and are they independent contractors or are they W-2 employees?
Yeah, so part-time reservation specialists, and then
Okay.
I have 3 independent contractors, and their job is not to sell travel. Their job
Okay.
specifically are support roles as like I have a client experience kind of admin that handles all the weddings and groups. And
Hmm.
then I have more of marketing. So she does all the emails, any pop-ups, like things that we're doing to create leads in our business, that type of thing. And then I have more of like my kind of admin, if that makes sense, that kind of
Okay.
helps me on the retainer side. And so she does a little bit of everything. She kind of helps the team, supports from the trip, kind of if she would be a trip coordinator for my reservations person, or filling out something on Canva, that we need her to do, to if I have a client that I'm traveling and need some assistance, she kind of fills in the gap. She's
Okay.
the team player. So I have specifically someone that handles all reservations and does the travel portion for all my wedding groups. I work with my retainer clients with an admin, and then I have a marketing person.
Okay. Awesome. Ooh, love that you have one of those too. Would
Yeah.
you say that you had your SOPs before you started adding a team, or did they come because you started adding a team?
A little mix.
Okay.
So the crazy thing is the first person I've ever hired in my business, we just parted ways in March. So I started
Okay.
my business part-time in 2017 and
Hmm.
went full-time in June of 2018. I was a major gift fundraiser. So a year and a half into my business, I quit my day job, went full-time and hired Chelsea. That was her name. That is her name. She's not passed away. She's still
Uh-huh.
living. But Chelsea. And so the crazy thing is like, I've had her all the way until again March of this year. My
Okay.
newest employee, Ashley, has been with me 2 years now. Like, so most of my team, even my marketing girl Steph, has been with me since I got lucky during the pandemic. She was on the supplier side, like bilingual, does all the things. Her husband's in travel, but she had a child. And so
Hmm.
child, pandemic, marketing, sales person get cut. And so she was like, now I can't go back, especially because my husband's in it. So I really got to steal. Like I snatched her up quick, and I
Nice.
love it because she, has the industry background.
Uh-huh.
She's my sounding board. We do high
Hmm.
level conversations around marketing. And on top of that, she's bilingual, which is great.
Right.
Sometimes we need her to jump in. I'm like, Steph, da 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 da. And she's living in the US, but she's not from the US. So
Okay.
she's actually the passport, like British passport, Panamanian. Like, yeah,
Okay.
I've got a little diverse. So I'm saying all this to say that I have a great team.
Yeah.
But to answer your question is I had some things, it wasn't as defined as it is today,
Uh-huh.
but I had some things in place. And that's because I've had the same team basically since I've started. So like as
Okay.
I've grown, we've grown together. And so really I have to give credit to Chelsea, one of my first, employees of. I'm like, girl, we got to write this down. I was like, okay, especially when I stopped doing things, I paid more attention to having things written out because I
Uh-huh.
didn't want to go back to doing it. So I already knew
Hmm.
how much money do I need to make because I got to hire somebody. And don't worry, we
Right.
got everything you need. That's what I'm telling my team. We got everything you need. We've got a video for that. We've got a Word doc for that. You can come in with no experience because I have everything set up, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yes, kind of unwrapping that a little bit. When
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about the standard operating procedures, what's the tech that makes those happen? Like, is this just strictly Google Docs? How are
There we
they
go.
arranged? Like, are there certain parts in the Google Doc? Where are the
So
videos housed?
So basically, Asana is like our master everything. We call it
Okay.
our Bible between
Okay.
VacationCRM and Asana. But Asana is like every day. If you were to come to work and they say the first thing you do, you need to check your Asana. That's
Right.
how we make notes, update projects, communicate about different things. We have a team board, we have a client board, we have workflows board. This is kind of where all the magic happens. So
Hmm.
we list all our SOPs and boards and we break it down between marketing SOPs or client support SOPs or operations SOPs, admin. And so you can click into the board, and like I just uploaded one yesterday. I'm trying to think what it was. It's an SOP for something. And in Asana, you can link your Google Drive doc. So then someone can go, there's two ways they can go. They can go into our shared drive, into the Google Drive folder that says SOPs. And inside that, there are several different folders broken down into marketing, financial, all the things. And there's all these SOPs, and they're Word documents, and there's a link to the Loom video. But instead of doing all that, because we have so many SOPs, you could be doing that forever. We have a master SOP template where when you click in the SOP folder, you can just click on that template then you can see all of it in view. So we have them all in the folders, but we have a master template. But then say you're like, I'm not even going to go through all that, depending on what you're asked to do, or like say it's like, hey, I need something about insurance. You can just type insurance in Asana, and then the SOP for insurance will come up, and it'll already link the video and the Word doc that's in the Google Doc anyways. Yeah.
That is super
so everything's
cool.
housed right there. And I don't pay for Asana. I've tried it but everything that I need is on the free version.
Oh, okay. So then it must include a lot, especially if you have like this big library of like SOPs. So would you say that a board, because I'm trying to think, like I know Trello and ClickUp, you can kind of set it up where like a board at the top might say like marketing, and then each list is a different SOP that entails marketing?
Yeah, so this is where I would say it's a preference. It's kind of like Trello, where some people are card people, some people are list people. The cool thing about Asana is if you're a card person, you can flip your boards to cards. So like, for instance, on my workflow board, so we have teams. So like one of my Asana boards is CEO-ish, meaning I'm the only one in there, and it has like my hiring, like what my week looks like, because I break down in days of what I work on. It has team onboarding and team roles. That's in my CEO. Then we have a workflows board, which we have a workflow for each service I provide, which for Travel Bash is destination weddings and groups. So we'll have a destination wedding lead inquiry process, and then we'll have the actual trip process for destination wedding, like what that looks like. And so then we have a master template for a group client process, and then group lead inquiry process. So there's going to be two for each service, because you're going to want the lead process, and then the actual, now they become a client, what are all the things that you do? And so for the lead process of that, I turn them into cardboards. And the reason why I turn them into cardboards is because if you look at them instead of a list, we break it up into blocks of like initial inquiry, discovery, call schedule, pending contract. Does that seem like new client? Yay, onboarding, kickoff call started, complete, offboarding. So we just move the cards once they made it through our Honeybook process. And the cool thing about that is we have a gap from Honeybook to Asana, so we don't have to put the lead in. When we get a new lead on the Honeybook, it automatically goes into our board for initial inquiry.
Okay, because I was going to ask, so what would you say is the difference between like how you put and like how they go through like the little pipeline on Honeybook versus this pipeline that you have in Asana?
Yes. So basically, we always, again, this is the master tip. This is the master of everything. So if Travelify goes down, VacationCRM goes down, Honeybook goes down, everything goes in Asana. But obviously, within our workflow, we'll even put like board one, this is supposed to happen, but then we'll have in parentheses automated through Honeybook. So they're knowing, like, even though this is what's supposed to happen, you don't have to do it because it's automated. But just think, if we don't have Honeybook, you'll know you have to do that step. But our Asana and Honeybook talk to each other. My Asana talks to everything, basically.
Nice.
So we have the different workflow boards, but like for SOP specifically, to answer your question, is we have a team operations board. So we'll have like admin, operations, team resources, travel supplier, partner information. So, you get all those emails from travel partners. The ones that you really want to keep, we'll put in the Asana board. We'll keep them in a partners folder, but also like people want to get to things quickly. We're busy. So like if a new partner sends us something, we're like, hey, we might want to keep this brochure. The prices went up on this transfer or whatever. We put it in Asana as well. So then if they just put whatever the partner's name is, it'll pull up in Asana and give us the new. Courtney just met with them on 9/14, or here's the new information, and they can pull that as well. So like we'll do like a quick reference, because in Asana, not only can you add tasks, but you add sections. So like we'll have a quick reference section, and within the quick reference, the biggest SOP we have are inbox SOPs. And so because I'm OCD, I told you, and crazy, we do quarterly updates. So like the cool thing about our Asana, which is on steroids, is not only will we house what the SOP is, we'll say last updated January 2024, because I'm crazy. And so we do quarterly updates. So if we know that it's been updated January 2024, we probably need to revisit because what has changed from January to September? Sometimes nothing, but sometimes let's just say you don't have that team member no more. Say you switch programs or CRMs. Now you need to go back and update the SOP. So every SOP shows the date it was last updated. It'll say updated January 2023 or updated. We have something that was updated July 2021, but it was just like we've collected like photographers. So like if clients are looking for something like flytographer or a professional photographer in destination. So we have like 4 or 5 that we can give them as reference. We haven't updated since 2021. That's not something that's like, part of our process. But for instance, like I think there was something that we switched up because at one point Travel Bash used to take one-off clients, meaning anybody could come to us and we would plan your trip, and we don't anymore. So updated, we have this date. This is what we say when we get someone in to our pipeline that is just looking for a one-off service, if that makes sense. So like we update that, or like for instance, when I switched to Honeybook, we used to have Calendly links. So we would put all the Calendly scheduling links in in Asana. So whether it was my link or the team link or specific like destination wedding group, but now we don't need that because remember, now I don't use Calendly, I have a Honeybook. So that's another reason why we do quarterly updates, because your business is always evolving and growing and changing. And you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to add this. I've added team member. I'll let this person go, which is why I'm saying it's important to go back. And just because you create the SOP doesn't mean you need to forget about it.
100%. Like those probably need an annual review, if not like kind of what you're doing. I love how you emphasize it, like after every trip, after every group, you do like a little regroup after to make sure that the SOP is working or see where it needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
When we're talking about Asana, was that something that you kind of just learned on the fly, or did you consult with anybody to kind of maximize the use?
I didn't. It was just one of those things like, I need something. And at the time when I started my business, everybody was talking about Trello and Asana, and I'm a super crazy list person. And so my brain could speak list. If anything of what I need to do, the to-do list, that's how I function. And then more and more I got into it, I'm like, oh, we can do this. Oh, Google Drive connects, we can add our document here. It's just me playing around and having a team and like, do you know this? And that's why I played around with the upgraded. Do I really need this versus what I use when, and I've tried it multiple times, and even when I've had more team members, but everything that I need, everything that we utilize for, the free version works perfectly.
Okay.
Well, I know people like ClickUp too, but also because I'm not a big tech person, even though people would think I am because I use it, I don't speak tech language. And to me, ClickUp, when it gets too like, I'm like, oh no, I need simplified. List simplified. Like I know it's probably not simplified, but like I can't get too techy because now you've lost me, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
And Asana has an easy user face, like it's easy to use for someone who doesn't know.
Okay. See, and I think because I've been using Asana with ClickUp with one of the clients that I work with, it's become a little bit easier to see like, oh, like, okay, this is how you can use the things. I think you just have to like find the one that works for your brain. It's kind of like, I know everybody talks about the tech battle, and it's not like one is better than the other. It's just everything is set up a little bit different, has different features that do same or similar things. You have to find the one that kind of matches how you operate because you're the one that's going to use it and be in charge.
Exactly. And so I've started with Asana and I've stayed with it. And I've just built it up as I've built myself and my team and my business up. Yeah. I was like, again, if it's not broke, you don't need to fix it. I'm not trying to get into the shiny whistle, battle, because there's always something newer, brighter, better out there. But if it's working perfectly for you, stick to it.
If you could give one piece of advice to travel advisors who are kind of feeling overwhelmed either with the tech or trying to streamline processes so that they're kind of like making a repeatable step-by-step process in their business, what's kind of like your big piece of advice for getting started?
Just start wherever you are. Matter of fact, now there's like Tango. there's certain programs out there. Just actually do the test. Just record yourself. You're not even going to pay attention that you're doing it. And then once you record it, it'll create an SOP for you. So that's what Tango does. So like if, let's just say you're like, I don't even know where to start. Start with the first part, your inquiry process, because obviously you want those leads, you want to turn them into business. So basically, what is it? To me, you should be able to articulate when you receive leads, first of all, where are they coming from? And then once they come in, what is the first step? And so I'll talk to colleagues and they're like, I do this. Okay, write it down. Okay, after that, what do you do? I do this, but they're not going to do that. So that's why you need to write down. So like just the first part, like explain to me like you were explaining to anyone else of like, how are you doing this? And then write it. And it doesn't have to be perfect because remember, now we have our little assistant AI or now you can record a Loom video or use Tango.
Yes.
It will make it better for you. So I would just say, just start somewhere. And if you're like, oh my gosh, I can't even think about inquiry process. We'll start somewhere that seems simple to you. You know what I mean? Like in your day-to-day, what is it that you're doing over and over? It could be just sending an email because we've got an SOP for that. Because as your brand and your business, this is how we respond to people. Like people know my email's short and concise. Like I'm not going to send you a full paragraph. And people know that I also email like I talk. So sometimes people get real professional and all this. I'll just like, hey, this, and that. And sometimes I'll go back. But like for the most part, we're fine because that's on brand for me. You know, I don't want you to be like, we're not big on emojis and LOL and all of that, but that's also part of your brand guide. But like, even if it's structured in an email, how should this happen? Or like for my marketing, she does how to upload a blog post to Squarespace. You would think that's simple. Like, oh, all you do is go in there. So if that's all you do, why don't you have it written down? You know what I mean? Like, because even though you're saying all you do is go in there, click the plus and add the thing, that's still something that someone else that if you were going to hire them needs to know.
Right.
They also need to know, have you sourced the picture? Have you made sure that it's SEO friendly? Have you looked at the URL? There's other little bites that if you know your process, then you can improve it. But if you don't know it, you can't improve it, which means probably your clients are getting different levels of service each time. Because it should be a process that you could duplicate. That's also how you'll be able to scale. When you grow and you add a team, when you take on more clients, you have to keep it simple, stupid. The more and more stuff you do, it's going to be harder to duplicate that. But if you keep it simple, then it's easier to take on more clients, easier to teach someone your process. And then as they get in there, they're like, my team now, my best thing was hiring people to run my business better than me. Because they'll come back and be like, Courtnie, why do we do that? I can't even tell them. I thought it was good. You know, and they're like, actually, especially because now they're in the day-to-day and with their team, like, no, I think we just send an email because their question is this and that. Okay, great. You got an SOP? They're like, we do. You know, so now the process has changed. But you won't know that if you don't ever, write it down.
Right.
So basically, that was a big answer to that one question. But I would just say, just start somewhere. Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's the importance of being able to do it yourself in the beginning so that you know kind of like the ins and outs. And then as you start hiring, you can like let go of it because you've kind of semi-mastered it yourself. I know that Loom also has AI technology because I know they're all like building AIs in them where you can record and then like click a button and it'll create the SOP based on what you recorded. So like saving you more time to make SOPs.
Use your resource. The other day I was on the Google Doc. I was creating some proposal. It's got AI now. Google Documents have AI. And like highlighted something in red and it's like, do you want to this? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, these are the things that we want to use AI for. Like we don't have to worry. Well, we do have to worry about like the dark side of AI. But if you keep just using it in the way that it was intended to help us, make us work faster, more efficiently, and be a little bit smarter, like then we're doing the right thing.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Courtnie, so much for being here. I know we all wanted to hear a little bit about your event, the Biz Huddle, coming up next year. So can you do a little teaser?
Really quick? I will do 30-second overview, which probably, as y'all can tell, when I'm on here, I can't talk 30 seconds. So I don't know why I said that. But basically, the business model is for travel advisors looking to build and grow and scale their business. So like we were talking about today, operations. We're not talking about anything supplier driven, trade show is not a fam. We're not talking destination. We're not talking product. We're literally talking about you, kind of what Prep like Wave Week is about, like marketing, sales, operations, like you in your business. It's advisors for advisors, like, hey, come and learn and grow and implement on the site. So don't just take what you learn or like just listen to this and then you're like, oh, that was great, I was so inspired, and then you don't implement it. So that's why we're going to get you there, and you're going to actually implement. We're going to have workshops. We're working with coaches, strategists, all the people outside of the travel business, but experts in their field to really focus on the business. So like that's the one thing I'll say. I love the travel industry. There's tons of travel, trade shows, conferences, and all of that. But they don't really focus on the meat and potatoes. They don't really teach how to build your business or what it's like to be an entrepreneur or wear a CEO hat. It's all about selling or destination, which to me, once you get into business, that's the easiest thing to learn, because as you start traveling and you know and learn, you're going to know which products for you, which is not your preferred suppliers and all that. But they don't tell you about you're now the accountant. Oh, the sales process, creating a sales funnel. Oh, that thing called marketing. Okay, what is marketing? What is the message? You know, like what is having an effective marketing strategy? Oh, is marketing just social media? You know, there's so many nuances of all the things. So I'm like, I was gonna wait for someone to create it, but I was like, if I wait, it'll never get done. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do this thing. I'm launching a business event for travel advisors. That's what it is.
I love it. When I first heard, and you can follow the Biz Huddle on LinkedIn too. When I first heard about it, it resonated so much for me, because I'm like, that's the mission of everything that I do with Take the Helm, is focus on the business ownership side of the travel agency industry, essentially, because there's not a lot of people that are talking about SOPs or all the different foundational pieces of what it is to operate a business, because
how to hire.
Yes.
How to fire. Difficult conversations. Return on investment. When should you hire marketing? So what is their job? Like, do you need a social media? Like, I've talked about how I've grown my business without social media. Like, what funnels, or what is a funnel? You know, like, how do I talk to these clients? Like, oh, I sell? Yeah, you're a salesperson. What? You know, like, I don't look at myself like that. What about cash flow, financials? What about I'm making money now? Now what? What do I do with that money? You know, like, what does scale really mean? Are you growing? Are you scaling? Am I doing both?
Yeah.
All of that.
Yeah. So. And even like things as simple as, do I need to scale, or do I want to scale? Do I want to be a solopreneur, or do I want to have a team? And what does that look? What's the difference between what that looks like, revenue that you have to pull in order to like stay a solo or to be able to scale and all that? There's just so much details that for whatever reason has not been talked about, but I'm glad that you are bringing that to light with the Biz Huddle. So we'll link that up. Thank you, Courtnie. This was really fun. I feel like this is drinking from a fire hose, but a much needed fire hose, because you just spilled the beans on so many things today.
Hey, thank you.
All right. See you soon. Bye. All righty. What did you think? There were a lot of tools and a lot of information. I know we tend to do a lot of like dripping from the fire hose here. And so if you need to re-listen to that, the episode will always be available for you to re-listen. But let me know what you thought of this episode and of this replay. And again, remember, you better be signed up for Prep for Wave Week this week. Actually, today, if you are listening on Friday the 19th, there's some elements that have already opened for Prep for Wave Week, including the virtual trade show, which I definitely want you to check out. One, because there's a little bit of a gratitude type game that we're playing here, and you can win some prizes for that. And then two, I just want to know what you think about this format. Inside of each partner's module, you're going to get like a 10-minute max video. There's also going to be maybe a couple documents depending on who submitted a document, and then also some text. So there's a lot of learning in here, a lot of doing in here. So I hope you find these like really insightful, and also just a really niche-y way of being able to do a trade show that I really haven't seen done before. So I just really want your feedback on that as well. The swag bag might be a little open for you now too, But really, the really great stuff is going to be starting on Monday. We have our Essentials Day, 3 presentations every day, plus if you upgraded to the Study Hall Pass, 3 p.m. Eastern every single day. I'll join you with an amazing co-host. So I'm going to do my best to rest up because I cannot wait to see you and interact with you next week at Prep for Wave Week. All right, everybody. See you then. Thanks for joining me on the podcast today. Remember to check out the show notes for all relevant links and resources from today's show. See you next time.